Gun Talk Hunt is going seasonal. We'll be back in August. But first, to conclude this portion of the season, we're talking NRL Hunter match, specifically Freestone, Texas, with all my squad mates.
I'm KJ. You found the right place. We go all over this little blue orb, sharing stories and tactics about chasing wild game. Now, let's get on the hunt.
Welcome into this Gun Talk Hunt. I'm your host, KJ, and this episode is brought to you by Savage Arms and Range Ready Studios. We got a fun one today. We're going back to my NRL Hunter experience, back to Freestone. Probably not an experience I'd love to relive unless it was with these guys. These guys are my squad mates for the RO Range Day shoot. We've got Randal from Texas. We've got Reggie from Virginia. And we've got Sloan back in Texas. But for this one, let's start with Randal. Now, Randal, I ended up ROing a stage with, and gratefully so, because he knows a lot about this game and how this game is played. Randal, how you doing, man?
Pretty good. Recovered from the meet for sure, the match.
Man, how long have you been shooting PRS NRL Hunter matches? Because talking with you and spending time with you're a seasoned veteran at this, so you know a lot of how these games go on.
So I started shooting like PRS, like regional one days in 2021. I shot a few, and I started rimfire around the same time, PRS, and so I shot that mainly, and then I think in September of 2021, I shot 2022, I shot my first 2-day PRS and shot a couple of those. And then when I found the Hunter series a couple of years ago, I started trying to shoot that series. And I still shoot quite a bit of rimfire and mainly regional PRS.
Man, you shoot a lot, and it shows because you do really well. Talk a little bit about the Freestone match. Because that match was the first one I'd done at that facility, and the Freestone facility was absolutely fantastic. It was a great match, a lot more difficult than what folks said from last year, the match before, held at the same location. So talk a little bit about Freestone and the match they put on.
So so this particular match, one of the things, it was a little different. You can go to, I've been to NRL Hunter where you do it all on a square range, a defined range. I've done those, and then you've gone to other matches where it's more of a field match. And this one was one where you had some of both. You had a few stages that were more of a square range, and then you had the other stages that were more like a typical hunting scenario. So it was good in that regard, because you got one thing I think it made it really different was the fact that when you were in the wide open areas shooting more of the square range, the wind I thought played a lot more there than when you were in some of the other areas where you had like a cut that you were shooting down, or a sendero type scenario. Yep. Where the wind was not a big a factor, but we also had the wind channeling that was happening there in those cuts. It was probably a little stronger than we thought in some targets, and so that made it different and challenging because you had different aspects. It wasn't just all open prairie shooting where you had the same wind and you're just moving around a knoll or something.
Man, I really wish we would have had consistency on the wind calls, because that's one of the more difficult things that I'm dealing with right now. I've got the positional stuff down, and I'm really struggling with like wind. That's one of my biggest bugaboos that I find myself handling in the moment on those tough days, and that terrain was flat, but it was really, really difficult. How do you talk a little bit about what you look for when you walk up to a stage and you start determining wind? Yeah. What are you looking for?
Well, I mean, so when I was looking at the wind, well, like so one of the difficulties I think in this particular match scenario as compared to PRS is, you're going to walk on a blind stage, you're going to walk up there, and you don't really get the benefit of being in your glass looking for mirage. And so when I shoot PRS or 22 PRS, whatever, you get the ability to look at mirage, and I think it can tell you a lot. It's sometimes hard to see mirage, and you don't have a lot of time, or I don't take the time, and I probably should, to try to look for mirage more. And so I'm trying to go in there going, okay, what's the wind direction? Where's it been? Kind of what it is. I used the Primos wind app, so I can kind of get a direction of wind, and then try to get it in my binos and my solution, and then just go from there and try to make a shot, and then if I miss, make a correction, then try to hold that same kind of wind correction for the other ones in the stage. So I thought it was difficult for me because you had a lot of different winds. The one thing though about the match that I didn't mention, that it was probably my biggest issue, was ranging targets. I know Sloan helped me quite a bit, try to get my rangefinder working. I was all over the board. I felt like I'm a better shooter than my score, and I just couldn't range targets. I was had checked my dope out on my rifle a couple of days ahead of time. I thought really good, and always going to these things, trust your dope. And I stayed with my dope. My problem was I had bad ranges, and so after Sloan got me kind of squared away there, I got some pretty good ranges, and I was hitting some targets.
Well, some of the, sometimes I think these match directors get a little bit of high on messing with us a little bit, and they kind of know it because, there might be a little bit of grass in front of the target, or there might be some limbs overhanging, and I noticed that too. But you were having some odd issues, like some very strange readings out of your binos, which is not always the case.
Stage one. I thought, when you go up there's 4 targets. They're right down one Sendero, right down that fence line or whatever. I was like, man, that's you look at it. Finding the targets wasn't a problem. I think I hit one target out of the 3 or the 4.
Yeah.
And I was over, and then I had the wrong range, and so I couldn't really tell. There was no backdrop there, so when you missed, you were kind of.
That was one of the more difficult things on this match, is because it was mostly overcast time, and so what you had problems with was, not being able to see your impacts downrange, and that hurt me a lot. I noticed when calling your shots.
The other stage that I liked it, I thought, man, when I first fired the first shot, I go, oh, I'm dead in the water. It was the stage 4 or 5 up there on the flat range. It was the diamond at, I don't know how, it was like 1,009 yards or something. I don't know where it was. I ranged it less than that for some reason. I don't know why. And so my first shot was I thought the wind call was okay, but it was obviously low, and how low, I don't know. So I just added 6 or 7 tenths of wind or elevation, and I think I got second shot on that one, and I got the other 3 shots off. And the wind was pretty true for me. I think others might have been a little different there. I don't know. That one could have been a long one, because 1,000 yards in open prairie like that.
Oh yeah,
that was a good stage for me. Was probably my better stages, because I got 7 points out of 8, and I made a correction that worked. So that's what I liked about that stage.
That's nice, man. Well, let's jump down. Let's jump down to Reggie. Reggie, man, one of my favorite guys out of the whole crew, just because, man, he's eager to learn, and he is pretty fresh into the NRL Hunter game. Reggie, how you doing, man?
Yeah, pretty good.
Man, so talk to me about Freestone. One thing that separated you, as far as what you said to me on the first day, you said, this is a bucket list match for me. Dude, you're a young man. Why was that on your bucket list?
Yeah, so definitely a bucket list match for me. What brought me to it was that following Taylor to the match director in the gas gun show, which was kind of interesting during this match, as I was the only gas gun shooter during the whole match. So that's kind of what brought me down to Texas. So I wasn't able to do it last year, but finally everything lined up to do it this year.
Well, well, good news is that you won the gas gun division. I mean, if you want to look at it that way.
Didn't get it. Yeah, didn't get to bring home a trophy, but yeah, I'll take that win.
I'd take that win every single time. What are some lessons that you took away? Because, I feel like you're a lot like me, in that like you're new to this game and you're new to the NRL Hunter series. And like it seems like every match I'm taking away so much knowledge. What are some of the key takeaways that you had from Freestone?
Yeah, definitely. A lot of the positional shooting is kind of what I'm taking away from each one. I don't get to shoot regularly. Kind of been limited on my range time and getting behind the gun. But being able to execute some of the positions and the unorthodox situations that you'll get put in. Some may not be realistic to hunting situations, but the fact that, you get thrown into a blind stage, all right, what are you going to do? And I kind of like that, being on the spot and trying to problem solve.
Yeah. And so was this your first time ROing a NRL Hunter match?
No, so this is actually my third time ROing. So I got to RO the arena in Georgia and the Virginia match last year.
Yeah. So why do you like ROing matches? Other than it does save you some money.
I think that's the big part of it.
Yeah.
A lot of it is being able to see what other shooters are doing. Being able to see kind of what like the I guess the professional shooters or the more kind of the avid hunters are out there. Kind of see what they're using, equipment wise, how they execute a stage. Kind of learning from their experience. I'm definitely a visual learner.
Yeah.
And then like for me being an RO, once my stage is clear, I'll go try some of those same things that I saw someone execute flawlessly.
Yeah, I think that's that's why me personally, I like ROing is just because I get to see good shooters come through and I can pick up little tidbits from them, and especially the gear thing. Talk to me about your gear that you took, because you're flying to these matches. A lot of these matches you have to fly to if you're shooting anywhere in the Southeast or in the central part of the U.S. Talk to me a little bit about like your packing process and the gear that you like is a necessity for you.
Yep. So I definitely have a packing list. I have a checklist that I go off 2 nights before and the night before, making sure I have everything packed up. Of course, obviously the rifle's coming. The tripod, looking at your shooting bag. A lot of times I'll bring 1 or 2 shooting bags depending on the match. Same with tripods. I had 2 tripods. I had a backup just in case I needed it. Other than that, my bag, the binos are always going to be packed up. And then the big one for me for my workflow is my SIG kilos and then my Garmin 901. Those are like if I don't have those 2, then I'm not coming. But that's definitely been a game changer for me having those 2 together.
Man, we talked a little bit about the Garmin because I saw that you were running that Garmin 901 and on your wrist, and I kind of asked you. I was like, "Hey, how much of a difference does that make for you?" Talk a little bit about the Garmin 901 and like how you utilize it during a match like this.
Yeah, of course. So for me, I started off like everybody else with a dope card. Trying to you do your range and then you're looking at the dope card, trying to find kind of where on the dope card you need to be and get your dope dialed. With the 901, it kind of eliminates all that for me. Once you put in all your environmentals and your bullet data, once you range, it's giving you your dope and your win calls like right off the bat. And I think for my workflow, that's been a huge game changer since I got it, and I don't think I'll change unless something new comes about soon. But yeah, that's been something huge for me, that it's very quick. I'll get on stage, I'll laser target, and all I gotta do is look down and I have my dope right there ready to go. So for me, it's sped up my workflow.
Nice. And workflow is everything. Like if you have not done one of these matches and you're looking at doing it or you're doing it very soon, get a stage prep, a stage flow going, and definitely I want to definitely get into that a little bit more when we bring everybody back in. But here was my idea. it was right around Christmas time, and I was like, oh man, I wonder if this would work. So everybody knows the Meta glasses, right? And if they have a heads up display. So would those work for an NRL hunter? So if you're sitting there shooting and you could talk to it and say, all right, make a note of, 3.1 to target 1, which is an armadillo. I wonder if you could, as you're going through a match, could you build out your dope card in your Meta glasses?
No, that'd be pretty interesting. I've thought of that. Uh-oh. Yeah, lighting things turn off. Hold on. All right.
Dude, yeah, move. Start moving. The motion to activation.
Saving energy over here.
So
yeah,
would that work?
I've thought about that a lot. Using AI. When's the first time someone's going to bring an AI or an autonomous rifle, something that could laze, find a target, and execute all at once? We haven't seen it yet, but I'm sure it's around the corner. Sooner or later, someone's going to bring it out.
No, well, there was a rifle that I cannot remember for the life of me. I know Sloan would probably know the rifle that was the military using, where you mark the target, and then once you're back in that spot, the gun fires. It was like almost you preset a trigger that you lays and mark the target. I don't know, but then you just stop competing, right? Because, either that or you're Matt Alwine or Max Alwine, and they're pretty much robots anyway.
Yeah, definitely. I think, like I said, I think it's a matter of time. Somebody, DARPA, someone's going to come out and bring it out just to test it to see what they can do.
Oh, it's going to happen. Well, thanks for joining us, Reggie. Well, hey, we'll be right back to you, but I want to jump up now and talk with Sloan Kale. He's up there at West Texas Ordnances, and Sloan, when I met you, I was like, I had no clue you worked for a manufacturing company and build custom rifles and everything like that. And we just got talking about shooting first, and it was a refreshing conversation, because so much about NRL Hunter. And I would say, out of the squad we're working with today, you probably carried the whole group. But I do appreciate it.
Oh, it was a lot of fun shooting with everybody. I also wish the match went a little bit smoother for me, but at the end of the day, it was still fun.
What was a good match, and what are some of your, when talking about the Freestone match, because you shot the Freestone match last year and this year. Talk about the differences, and I do see this a lot with range, the match directors, and when people say they're too easy, the next year you better hang on to your hats, because it's about to get a little bit more difficult. Did that hold true?
That was definitely the case for this year at Freestone. I think, based on talking to some of the guys who help out at the facility, they definitely put on the match that they were wanting to put on this year. Difficulty-wise,
Gotcha.
Finding the target size in relation to distance, I think it's exactly where they wanted it to be. Last year, it was a lot of fun. The targets were pretty easy to find because they had fresh paint on them. And I was also shooting teams, which is just on its own a lot of fun to shoot teams. And so we didn't shoot teams this year. We decided to go as individuals. Well, Clayton and I will shoot teams again at a different match this year, I think. But both years it was a lot of fun. I'll go back to Freestone, as long as they keep it on the match.
That's one of those matches that you look back on, and I would definitely go back to this match and encourage everybody to definitely go back. What Taylor and those guys have done over there at Freestone has been phenomenal, and the hospitality and just the willingness for shooters to help out. So being more of a seasoned guy, a veteran of the NRL Hunter, and you shoot a lot of them, man. I swear, I thought you said at one time you're going to shoot like 8 of them or something like that a year, or you shoot a lot of these matches a year. What are some key things to look at when someone's selecting a match? Not necessarily just because it's geographically convenient for them, but what do you look for when you're signing up for these matches?
As I've gotten into this industry, I've been meeting a lot of people, and so the specific match director is something that I also keep an eye out for. Taylor and Clayton put on a really fun match last year, and they obviously care about the sport. So that speaks a lot to me about coming back. And all the matches I'm shooting this year, I'm going to every single Texas match, every single Oklahoma match, and then I'm going to try and make it to the Colorado match in the end of June, and then as long as I can do well enough, the Grand Slam. Grand Slam's always fun.
Yeah, that's one that I would love to make, but you kind of have to perform a lot better than I did this year or this last match. It'll go up from there. Equipment wise, what are you running? Gun wise,
it changes almost every match. No matter how much.
There's no consistency in my game whatsoever.
For the most part, I usually run a 6.5 PRC on one of the rifles I built here at the shop. I like to shoot factory ammo. Just the quantity that I shoot, it's just easier to grab factory ammo. Optic-wise, I'm a big Kalas Night Force fan. I was running Kalas at Freestone. For this next match in Bartlesville, I'll be running Night Force. Love both of them, but sometimes I just like to change things around.
So I have a question. Why aren't you consistent with what you shoot match to match? Like, is there a weird like superstition you have or what?
No, I usually shoot PRC, 6.5 PRC. I was trying to get into more of the 6.5 Creedmoor for the sake of recoil management. And just I'm too comfortable with the PRC, so I want to go back to it. One of the things that I just enjoy shooting a lot, and I'm very, very familiar with this specific load that I'm shooting. But it just helps with comfortability, which is one of the things that makes being consistent that much more beneficial. So
gotcha.
Probably would have helped to run PRC for Freestone, but either way.
Well, that's what I was fixing to say is because the PRC, you're not having to deal with as much wind, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's everything. Like that's where I find. And then when we get Randal back in here, I want him to tell the story of like his gun going down, and how he made a miraculous comeback after dropping his rifle, and I want to cover that and gear malfunctions and gear that we're able to go through and look at and examine, because that's when I find when you really find out about your gear is when you run it like we do on these NRL Hunter matches. Did you have any gear issues, Sloan, that you found out that didn't work?
I did have a couple ranging issues just because I didn't trust my gear, which is one of the bigger things that I try to tell new people is trust your gear. Because on that same diamond stage, I think it was stage 6, I did the same exact thing. I ranged the target, ranged in front of it, behind it, and I just didn't go with my gut. And so I had to make a correction on the first or second position, try and make up the score. So that is one of the most frustrating things, and that's the advice you gave me that we always talked about it during the match was, man, trust what you get. Trust what you get. You got to trust your gear. So it's wise advice for sure. Hey, Sloan, hang on for a second. We're going to take a real quick break. When we come back, we're going to bring everybody's mics up. We're going to bring everybody back into the conversation and talk about the Freestone Hunter match after this.
Looking to trim a few LBs out of your pack or just your firearm? Check out the Savage 110 Carbon Predator. 2 swing swivel studs, matte black carbon steel receiver, 2-piece Weaver style bases, proof research barrel. Yeah, it's carbon wrap, so that's where some of the weight savings is going to come. And you won't be disappointed because they offer it in a lot of different variations. 6mm arc, 223 Remington, 22-250, a favorite of mine, 308, 65 Creedmoor, and 300 Blackout. Now, you're talking about weight. You're talking about, well, how much really is it going to weigh? Trust me, you're going to be able to carry this thing all day. It's under that 7-pound range, so I promise you it's accurate too. So trust Savage 110 Carbon Predator for all your weight savings. Tired of your range time being just mag dumps and Instagram flexing? Enter Range Ready Training, where Director of Awesomeness and everything else, Chris Serino, turns keyboard warriors into actual warriors. Or something like that. Pretty dang close, I would say. Yeah, the guy's been there, done that. Pistol, check. Rifle, check. Yeah, we got it all. Force on force, we do that every now and then too. Bring your bruises, instructor development. Welcome to the Thunderdome of learning. It's more than training, it's range ready, because real life doesn't come with a respawn.
All right, we're back, and we're talking Freestone NRL Hunter match and how that's all shook out. And we've got Randal. We're going to bring everybody back in. Reggie and Sloan all in on the conversation. Randal, let's start with you. Let's talk about some gun issues that you were having and how you recovered.
So I think initially I talked about the rangefinder deal, and that gear was kind of, I knew my dope was good on that rifle I was shooting, so I didn't really worry about that. Sloan got me squared away, and about the time he got me squared away on range and targets, thank you, sir, I had a issue with a round that fired around. It was a hard load. Maybe I reloaded it, didn't get the shoulder bump. I don't know, but I couldn't get it extracted. So I wound up breaking the extractor, getting the round out. So now I have a rifle that has no extractor. I had a second rifle in my truck, so I ran back to get it. The issue with that one was I had started to shoot this match with my with a can and a brake on it, and I really wanted to do that all for NRL Hunter this year, just go suppressed. And so I had gotten my backup gun, which is actually my hunting rifle. I had taken a can off of it and just put a brake on it and put it in my truck and zeroed it. And I hadn't really shot much with it. But I have a lot of confidence in the gun because I shoot it when I go hunting.
Yeah.
So I went back to the next stage. I think I cleaned the next two stages.
Yeah, you did.
And it was one of those deals where I just have a lot of confidence in it. It's a lighter weight gun. I gave up weight, but I had a brake on it. So probably net, I don't know about recoil, one way or the other. I didn't really think about it. I was kind of pumped up to get back out there because it's pretty far track back to the truck. And so I got back there and shot it. So having a gun, again, having a good zero, I think that's the thing. You have a good zero and, trust your dope. And I had doped the gun out before, and I knew the speed was a little different. So all I did was drop down and change the profile in my 10Ks, and it worked. And so I really didn't really think about it. I just started shooting. And so it worked.
Man, I'm telling you, what was funny about it was in between stages 8 and 9 when we were transitioning, and you made the comment, you're like, man, I feel like I'm a better shooter than this. And then you had the issues, and then the better shooter definitely came out just because, I mean, it's almost like you stopped thinking and you were just like, I'm going to just go shoot, and lit it up on the backside.
Yeah, I gave up. I threw away a lot of points on the front side, but it was a lot of fun. I know Sloan, you talked about it, Reggie. It was a fun match, and I do think like one of the things about hunting is having confidence in your equipment. And these targets were kind of small, some of them, and so I didn't really have a problem with the small targets on the stages back in that intersection,
Yeah.
it was really like the gun was on, and so I felt good. And so I shot that gun the rest of the match, and it was good. It was different though, because I went from quiet to having a break, and now my squad had to hear my break, but that's okay.
Well, I was running a break anyway. I think Reggie was running a break. Like Sloan was the only gentleman out of all of us. But so Reggie, are you starting to build a gun? Are you going to stop running a gas gun?
Yeah, that's the big debate. I actually have a SIG cross coming. So I think my next match, I'm going to jump in the factory class, and then see how I do there.
That's awesome. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Like that's the gun that if I was gonna shoot, I mean, I've got a SIG Cross that I hunt with. It's my hunting rifle. Actually, it's my kid's hunting rifle. So I'll have to steal it from him and use it in factory class. But I like it. I don't. Is it you have it yet or no?
It's actually on its way. I was debating between the new Sawtooth, and then after Steel City, I was actually talking to Kyle Lamb, and he put me onto another version, the Born Raised, I guess the upgraded Born Raised version of the Cross. So that's what I went with.
So you went the Born and Raised version?
Yep.
See, Kyle Lamb, I had him on the show. I guess, man, it was a while back, but I had him on the show. Man, he could sell some. He could sell some goods. He can move some product for sure for SIG.
Yeah, he got me.
But yeah, he's done the same thing to me. Don't worry, Reggie. Like it's not a big deal. So, what did you guys? I mean, let's set like where you place, like, and where you land outside. Like, let's not think about that. But what were some of the key takeaways that you guys had with what you're going to go home and work with? Sloan, we can start with you if you want.
Sure. One of the things that I know I already need to work on is initial wind calls and then spotting shots, because a lot of the targets of Freestone just didn't have any sort of backer to them.
Yeah.
So if you miss, hopefully you can see some trace, or you get lucky and adjust your hold the right way. But being able to make those corrections and doing it well is my goal for improvement.
Well, speaking of spotting shots, let's just say we're on stage 12 and I'm sitting there shooting and the guys are all around watching me because I was the last one. I'm sitting there shooting and I have no idea. I'm like, guys, I can't see it. And then all of a sudden Randal's like, dude, you're like 5 feet high. So just a heads up. Once you finish the stage, part of your workflow should be turning your turrets back to 0. Just saying. But Randal, what about you, man? What are some of the things you're going to take home and work on?
One of the beauties of ROing was getting to see a lot of different people shoot. And Sloan's team's partner, Clayton, he came to our stage, and that guy was like smooth on that tripod shooting. And I had forgotten, I guess I'm getting old and don't remember stuff, but 2 years ago, we shot the finale. I think Sloan, we were at the same group, and Clayton was with us at up in Iowa. That was a great match, by the way. And so I watched Clayton be able to use that tripod, and he's really smooth off of it. And so I am going to shoot tripod only. There was a few stages that would have worked well without moving too much gear. You know, put it in a tripod and shoot. I practiced a little bit, but I am definitely going to the range before I get to Clayton's match, which is my next thing I'm doing up here the next couple of weeks. And I'm going to shoot tripod only and do that because I think it's a pretty solid platform, and I like doing it. I just don't. So I went home, and on the way home, I think I told you this, KJ, on the day we were leaving, I said, I'm going to ask myself, why not use the tripod instead of why should I? Like, why not use it? That's what I'm doing the next match. It may be the wrong thing to do, but I'm going to make myself shoot tripod only and probably more kneeling tripod and maybe not standing, but just depends on situation.
Yeah. Man, I'm telling you, like you're 100% right, and practicing this stuff that we may not be good at is always a good choice. But we saw, I don't know how many, we saw every single shooter go through our stage on stage 14, and the handful that used tripod did the best. They were more efficient with their movements, and I feel like they shot the best. But my gosh, like that was frustrating to watch, because now I'm watching a stage where it's like you watch them go through it and you're like, why didn't I think of that? That's the frustrating thing about RO, is you get to see all the good shooters come through and you didn't do any of the stuff that they did. Reggie, what about you, man? What are you going to work on?
So this match was the first time I've done individual. All the other matches I've been a part of a team with my father-in-law. So it was kind of interesting, that transition. But the rest of the matches I'm going individual from here on out. But definitely win calls, I think, is a big one that I think I need to work on. And just kind of watching how other people do it and watching YouTube videos, reading up on it is kind of something I learn every match. And then typically I'll shoot off a bag and attack plate off a tripod. But this match I was actually clipping in with the arc gun and shooting. So this is the first time I did that. It actually executed pretty well for me this time. So I think that's going to be added into my workflow this time.
Yeah. I'm telling you, tripod seems to be the way to go, Randall. I'm not going to lie. Sloan, what do you think about tripod locking in?
That's actually something that I was trying out for the first time at this match, because normally I do shoot clipped in.
Yeah.
So this match was running a table and a bag. There was only a couple stages where I actually felt the need to shoot off of it rather than just putting the bag on a prop or whatever this specific stage was.
Yeah.
I think I could go either way with it, but I'm probably still leaning towards just clipping in over a table and a bag.
Yeah. That seems like the way to go, man. It's just a smart way to do it. And like Randall says, why not tripod? Let's just carry that over. All four of us, we're just going to say, when we approach a stage, why not the tripod? Thanks, guys. Had a blast shooting with you guys. Can't wait to do it again. Now, Gun Talk Hunt fans, this is it for this portion of the season. We'll be back in August, but until then, keep those muzzles pointed in a safe direction and always be on the hunt.